So after reading that whole Michigan Sharon Moore thing, that was nuts. But you know, bias, I guess rivalry aside, that sucks for a human being, and hopefully both parties can reconcile and just move on in peace. But the one thing I want to have it, Kenny Dillingham, please don't leave Arizona State. I don't think you will. You love it in Tempe, so just please stay. Don't leave for Michigan, please. But getting that out of the way, guys, it is the end of the college football regular season, and it was the end of conference championships. So now it is on to bowl games and the playoff. How this will work, I'm just gonna give you 3 bowl games I'm gonna predict, and we're gonna do the first round of the playoff. Once the second round of the playoff happens, I'm gonna do those 4 games, and I'm gonna do 3 bowl games. And then to finish out the year of college football predictions, I'm gonna give you the 2 semifinals and the national champion, and I get 3 random bowl games. So this is how we're gonna do this. So I think it makes it a lot more easier. So, but last week during conference champions, I did decent. I went 6-3, which brings my all-time record to 170-55. Big corrections I got right: Georgia over Alabama, Kennesaw State over Jacksonville State, Boise State over UNLV. The ones I got wrong: Tulane beat the absolute brakes off of North Texas. Congrats to them. Duke won the ACC. That was quite a shocking. Indiana, of course, beat my Ohio State Buckeyes. But don't worry, we have the playoffs still. But getting that out of the way, let's get right into these bowl games. Okay, our first bowl game on the board is the ReliaQuest Bowl between Iowa and Vanderbilt. So, just so you know, these are recorded extremely early. I don't know if Pavia is leaving for the draft or Eli Stowers. So, I'm just assuming they're going to stay for this game. For Iowa, you need to stop Diego Pavia, especially on his legs. Very effective runner. He could throw the ball. They have some very, very dangerous weapons. They're a physical team. You have to be able to master physicality, and you have a chance to win this game. For Vanderbilt, of course, it's obvious: stop the run. Iowa loves to run the ball, so you have to take that away, force him to pass. This is a very typical Big Ten versus SEC matchup. I could see it being very close at half, but I think Vanderbilt is just too talented. So give me the Commodores 35-17. All right, next game on the board. It is Nebraska versus Utah. So, Nebraska. Lots of drama going on with Nebraska right now. First, you need to find a way to score with Dylan Raiola out. I don't know the situation on Dylan Raiola. I think he's going to transfer. They just fired his dad, who was, I think, like the offensive line coach. So, but Emmett Johnson is really good. I don't know if he's playing in this game or he's going to the draft, but Emmett Johnson needs to be effective in this game if you guys, want to run the ball, want to move the ball. That's probably a better way to say it. And Utah, they just lost their head coach, Kenny Dillingham. Man, he was the coach there for a long time. He was a good coach. But Utah just beat the brakes off of them. They're already weak. You're a better team than them. You're better defensively. You have better weapons offensively. So, give me Utah 34-10. All right. Final bowl game of the video. It is the Music City Bowl. Again, another SEC versus Big Ten matchup. It is Tennessee versus Illinois this time. Tennessee, you know what I'm going to say. Your defense needs to step up. Your defense looked atrocious, especially the back end of the year where you let up a ton to Oklahoma, you let up a ton to Vanderbilt. You cannot let up another 35 bomb to Illinois. You cannot do it. Illinois, your offense needs to perform. Even though Tennessee does let up a lot of points, they are still an SEC school. And Illinois, your secondary better be ready. Again, I don't know if Aguilar and Chris Brazel are playing in this game. I'm just assuming they are. But, of course, that is a lethal 1-2 combo, and you have to be ready for it. And I'm going to go with the Big Ten on this one. So give me Illinois to beat Tennessee in the Music City Bowl 28-25. Okay. Now, let's get into the college football playoff. First game on the board. James Madison, who won the Sun Belt, is 12-1 on the road to Autzen to take on the Oregon Ducks. It's funny, when I was searching for colleges, Oregon was one of my options. They sent me a scholarship. They were very, very nice, but Oregon, they had some weird things about them. But all that aside, James Madison has to play a perfect game. Seriously, you're going into Autzen and you have to be one of the best teams in the country. That sucks, especially for a Sun Belt school. So, to be honest, they're going to need a miracle. Oregon, pretty simple. Just don't allow them to do anything. Don't let Alonzo Barnett to even snap the ball. Like, your O-line, your D-line should crush their O-line, and I think they will. Give me the Ducks 45-10. All right, next game on the board. It is the winners of the American. It is Tulane versus Ole Miss. These two teams have already played where Ole Miss crushed them. So, let's see what happens here, especially with Lane Kiffin out for these playoffs for Ole Miss. But Tulane, you have to keep it competitive again. Like, Ole Miss is still vastly talented. Ole Miss, just do what you did last time. I think they're going to win 45-10. Alabama, who is 10-3 on the road to Norman to take on the Oklahoma Sooners, who are 10-2. This is a rematch. Oklahoma beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I believe it was like 23-21. And a shocker. I didn't expect that. Alabama, of course, has not looked great its last few weeks. Their last slate of games when they lost to Oklahoma. They beat Eastern Illinois, but Ty Simpson did not have a good game. They barely beat Auburn in a shootout, and they just got crushed by Georgia in the SEC Championship. Crushed. I think they had -3 rushing yards on the day. Alabama, your offense needs to step up. Oklahoma is very good at defense. I'm not worried about your defense, Alabama. I'm worried about your offense. Can you score the ball? You couldn't against Georgia. You need to score the ball if you want a chance to win this game, especially in a tough environment. Oklahoma, I think you got Alabama right where you want them. I'm being straight up. It's just your job to execute and not blow this game. You've beat them before, you can beat them again, especially now with home field advantage. This should be, I wouldn't say a little more easier because, to be honest, no game against Alabama is easy. But, you have an advantage now. You didn't have an advantage when you went to Tuscaloosa, and you beat them. And Oklahoma, yeah, their offense is very lackluster, but I can't trust Alabama with the way they're looking right now. So give me Oklahoma 21-10 and move on. They'll take on Indiana in the Rose Bowl. All right, last game of the video. This one could be exciting. It is 10-2 Miami on the road. It's Kyle Field to take on Texas A&M, who are coming off their first loss to the Longhorns. Miami, I'm going to make this plain simple. Your defense needs to step up. You need to guard those receivers wide. Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, Bethel Roman. They got weapons. Your secondary better be ready. Miami's defense is very good, but the one thing I'm worried about is Carson Beck throwing interceptions. It happens in big games for him, and it cannot happen here if you guys want to win. Texas A&M, of course, has a ruthless defense. I believe their edge rusher was nominated for the best defensive player in the country. I forgot his first name, but his last name was Hal. He was extremely good. Texas A&M, you need to bounce back against the game against the Longhorns was just a string of errors and mistakes. So you can't have that here, especially Marcel Reed. He had those 2 very bad interceptions at the end. That cannot happen. I think the home field advantage is going to be too much for Miami, and I do think Texas A&M is still very, very good. Give me Texas A&M to beat Miami and move on to the second round, 38-24. And that is going to be the video, guys. College football is great. I love college football. It has its flaws. Especially with the schedule. I am going to release a video at the end of the year, what I would fix in college football, because I do have my thoughts about it. I don't think it's perfect, but, stuff needs to change. So getting that out of the way, but thank you for watching me. And as always, be safe, folks.